Hello everybody and welcome to the ERSCA Belly Up Sports Series. Dom Santina alongside David Westergreen up here in the booth at Michigan International Speedway for the practically homemade 200. Once again being brought to us by Carlos Acosta and 3 Wide TV. David, how are you doing here tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm, fresh off a road course race, so I'm excited to get up to some high banks in Michigan, some 200 mile per hour speeds, and some of that straightaway drafting that I'm certain we're going to see here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully another pretty clean race here from the ERSCA series. So we get ready to get into our qualifying session here momentarily. Get ready for another round of the season.
As I recall, last year we only had one, maybe two cautions at Michigan. And I think one of those was Damian Leininger crashing into Ryan Lutz. So, yeah, I don't expect that to happen again, even though Lutz and Damian keep joking about it. But what I do expect is a lot of clean and green racing and a lot of drafting. And I think track position is going to be really, really important tonight.
So through 11 races on the season so far, Kwame Scott still your points leader, 3 wins. League lead there on top as well. Nick Indelicato picked up his second win of the season last week. Ethan Burrell slots himself into third. Cameron Rich fourth. And Tate Lytle round out your top 5.
Yeah, and looking back, right on the bubble is Damian Leininger and Matthew Weeks. Matthew Bayuk just outside. He was really off to a slow start in that 29 shift esports Ford. He'll be one of those guys to look out for as we push forward. Jared Rexing's been strong this season as well. And every race winner that's in the top 25 in points, they will have a chance at the wild card if they are not in the top 12. Right now, all of our winners that are eligible for the playoffs are in the top 12 in points.
Yeah, David, and going back to that graphic, I don't know if you saw at the bottom or not. One guy that Johnny thought was going to be a really hot contender this season hasn't had quite the year he was hoping for or expecting, but looking to maybe sneak in here is James Heater down there, just 24 points out.
Yeah, for Heater to come through, it seems like Heater's been a little bit off this season. Even Nick Massey, 8th in points, a little bit off this season. Seems like from what he usually is. Then you've got Tate Lytle. He's gonna be missing tonight, and I believe Mark Whitley's missing tonight as well. So the door is really wide open for these guys.
Once again, we have Practically Homemade bringing us our race sponsorship here tonight. We had, I believe that's with Tate Lytle. This is Mom's website, I believe. I heard correct last week.
Yeah, he's missing this week. Coaching golf, real life, taking a little bit of a precedence tonight over the ERSCA series, but he did manage to sponsor this race, and we really thank his mom and practicallyhomemade.com for putting their name on and sponsoring ERSCA.
Came up just one spot shy last week of taking home a win in his family-sponsored race.
All of his team there, Pro Edge Racing, they have not put together a win. Him, Ethan Burrell, and Matthew Weeks all haven't really been with that race-winning pace this season, and it's a little bit surprising. I would have thought by now they would have put one together. As it stands, they are winless. So is Nick Massey, and so is Scott Crump. Just a bunch of guys who I would have expected to pull a win off. But we've been dominated by 3 drivers this season, at least since we jumped back to the Xfinity car. And those drivers are Kwame Scott, Ryan Lutz, and it's based on the last one. Cameron Rich, maybe? No. Who's the 3rd driver that won the races recently? Man, Indelicato. Nick Indelicato, that's it. Woo! Monday night. But Indelicato, Ryan Lutz, and Kwame Scott have won two races each in our last 6 races, and no one else has won an Xfinity car race. Will that change tonight?
Well, since 3 out of the 3 are in the top 6, gonna have to say that's probably less than a 50% chance there that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's surprising to me that it's taken this long to kind of have a different winner in these Xfinity cars other than these first 3 drivers. And it's not like other guys haven't been in contention. But what we have seen is Nick Massey give away a win at Dover late. We saw Tate Lytle having to start in the back last week and come all the way forward to finish 2nd. And that race was being dominated by Kwame Scott. Seems like he kind of gave away another one. Damian Leininger had a chance last week to win. Came up just a little bit short, so a lot of these guys are going to have their best opportunity in a while since we've gotten back on the Xfinity car tonight at Michigan. Rolling off for qualifying here. We'll take a look at some of the fresh paint schemes that are debuting this week. And some of the classic ones. Jared Rexing in his Nesquik car. Dallas Myhan in his blue numbers. And Gerald Campbell. Oh, no, it's not Dallas Myhan tonight. It's Ty McIntosh subbing for Dallas Myhan in the 26 car. I had to double check on that one. Gerald Campbell there and Dylan Thomas The number 03, Dylan's been off to a bit of a rough season so far in that car. I would have expected him to be a little bit more in contention for the points. I think a lot of these guys who might be looking at pole are waiting a little bit in the sim. Currently 115-degree track temp means this Michigan International Speedway going to be very slick. Not a whole lot of grip. And at 200 miles an hour, that's not your favorite thing. Ryan Lutz, last year's champion and last week's race winner. Or no, sorry, that's in Delicata that won last week. Michael Goodman, 30 car, and Ty McIntosh putting up laps early. Currently on top of the board is Johnny Thomas, the number 83 Manscaped Chevrolet. I think the second lap's going to be the fast one here.
Nick Massey sitting second quick right now.
Massey trying for another one. Matthew Bayuk jumps top of the board.
Cooper Johnson just jumped to third. Now Jared Rexing will bump him down one notch.
Yep. Rexing a little loose there entering turn one. I think that might be because he's got finished with his lap. Johnny Thomas failed to pick up on his second lap. Might be the first lap in that case. That is the quick one. Kendall Noah player back again. Missed a couple of races there. Good to have K&P back on board.
Ryan Lutz's first lap went to fourth quick.
Yep. McIntosh jumps to second on the board. So Shift Esports currently flocking out the front row. And Bayuk is the only one in the threes. Another Shift teammate, Nick Indelicato, to the top of the board. Last week's winner. I got it right this time.
Andy Trupiano just jumped to fifth quick. Hank Steinmiller up to third.
Hank Steinmiller is going to be one of those guys to watch out for tonight, I think. He won at Auto Club earlier this year, loves these big tracks, and he was pretty fast last week at Las Vegas up until speeding penalty took him out of contention. Matthew Weeks in the 11 car.
I think you're right, David. Ryan Lutz wasn't any quicker on his second lap either, so that first lap might be where you want it. Kwame Scott to the top of the charts.
My goodness, and Kwame's almost a tenth quicker than the field. It seems like no matter where we go, this 99 car seems to be the class of the field right now, and definitely our championship favorite. Matthew Weeks to P2. Here comes Damian Leininger. Well, for his second lap, he was 18th quick on his first lap. Kyle Hanshaw also on track. Same for Josh Clark. Clark was almost sandbagging that first lap, trying to maybe get it wound up for this second lap. We'll see what this lap time looks like as he comes to the line. Scott didn't run faster his second lap. Clark jumped to 22nd on the board. James Heater now. He's up to fifth quick in the 18 car. Only 4 drivers put down a lap that was faster than a 39.4, and that was Kwame Scott, Matthew Weeks, Nick Indelicato, and Matthew Bayuk. Kwame Scott is a full 10th faster than Matthew Weeks. He put down a 3.0. So, 99 car might be the one to watch as we get into our picks here. I feel like Dom went first last week, so Carlos, I think it's your turn.
Oh my goodness! Oh, all these people, I don't know who. Cameron Rich.
Cameron Rich, the typical one. You want to go next, Dom?
All right, I'm going to start pulling the Carlos effect here. He paid off last week. I'm going back-to-back weeks with Nick and Delicata.
All right, I'll go out of the box. Somebody down the order, maybe it hasn't been picked yet this year. Give me Dylan Thomas, 03 car. I think he's got some latent speed. We're waiting for it to show up.
starting 24th.
Qualifying
Nice.
order on your screen as well. Get into the second group here. Looking for some of our points contenders. Ryan Lutz starting 16th. Kind of an uncharacteristically mediocre lap for Ryan Lutz. Bubble Driver and Damian Leininger 19th. Ethan Burrell back in 21st. He was very quick here last year. I believe Tate Lytle won this race, but it was a battle between him, Ethan, and Nick Massey. As we round out the starting grid, Josh Personette back in 25th. Jared Mogart starting 37th. I don't believe he made a lap in the 00. Neither did Josh Adams in the 95. I think both of them will be making their way towards the front. Pace car pulling off pit road now. Laps at Michigan. By my best estimation, I think they'll have to pit at least one time. And probably just the one time. If cautions come out, the tires will certainly be a priority for these guys with that track temp at now 121 degrees at race time.
All right, lights are off on the pace car. Looks like we're about ready to go green here for this one.
Ready. As the pace car pulls off.
Green flag in the air. Simply made. Is underway here at Michigan. Bringing us our title race sponsor.
Graphics are down. We'll do our best to get you the running order as it comes. Nick and Kwame Scott is rocketed away already to a 5-6 car length lead down the back straightaway with Matthew Weeks and Nick and Delicato in tow. Battles for fourth. Hank Steinmiller trying to get around the Matthew Bayuk, number 29, and he does. Hank Steinmiller from 6th to 4th on the first lap. Everyone chasing Kwame Scott. He's already out to a second advantage. Back in the field, Johnny Thomas has made his way up through. Oh, they're trying to wreck up here. They do in the back. Richard Hines, 87 car. Just gonna say, it seems like it has straightened out nicely. Looks like Seth Rawls just got in the back of Richard Hines. Down the back straightaway, and Michael Goodman had absolutely nowhere to go.
Oh, David,
bring Michael Goodman up here.
Yeah, we can. You said 1 or 2 cautions, so I don't think we expected to have one this early into the race.
like just a misjudgment from Seth Rawls. Left rear hook with the 87 car. Michael Goodman nowhere to go in that 30. Go on board with him here. Oh man, might have been some contact there. Let's bring Michael Goodman into the TV booth. Michael, looked like there was absolutely nowhere to go for you, buddy.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Hines looked like he got turned, and I was along for the ride as well.
Is it damaged pretty heavy, or are you going to be able to get back out there?
I think we'll have some pretty significant aero damage. Someone else kind of arc or braked into me, so we'll see what we got for damage here in just a second. But I think it might be killed down the straightaways here.
Tough break for you, man. Had a good run a couple of weeks ago at IRP. We were looking to see if you would, pull one out there tonight. So tough break.
Yeah, we'll grit it out and see what we can get, and we'll try to salvage something.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, see you later, man.
Michael Goodman of Apex Sim Racing. That was Harrison Talon, who bounced off of him in the carnage, and on that onboard, it looked like he probably didn't know there was a car in that smoke.
All right, so we'll try to get this up and going again. Light's still on the pace car. A couple more laps here, pacing around.
Kwame Scott's led every lap so far. He led the most laps last week, as Carlos tries to troubleshoot the graphics errors that are plaguing us here. Might have him back up here. There it is. Good job, Carlos. He's the man. Carlos Acosta, our producer.
With a plan.
Mm-hmm. Waited for that. He needed that first caution. He paid off Rawls to spin out Richard Hines so he could fix the graphics. That's what happened there. Steinmiller did get to third. No, he didn't. And Delicato was still third. Steinmiller fourth. They were in a heated battle. Early movers. Andy Trupiano's gone from 10th to 7th. Ty McIntosh has fallen from 7th to 12th. Jared Mogard's from 37th to 24th. And everybody from Wesley Crump on back, 27th on back, has hit pit road. Some for tires, some not. We have 5 tire sets, or sets of tires this race. With only 3 laps on the tires. I can't imagine the bonus will be that great. But a lot of those guys probably grab some fuel just in case they can make it to the halfway lap. Let's also remember, we may not need to run into it here, but we do have a DQ limit if you get 25 or more incidents in a race. That will send that driver packing. Michael Goodman, Richard Hines already picking up a number of incident points early on in this. Lights off on the pace car, getting ready to restart this race.
All right, getting ready to go back to green here. 5 laps down. We'll see if we can get a green flag stretching as Kwame Scott gets the restart.
My goodness. Kwame Scott got a huge jump on the field, and Delicato and Bayuk will get an advantage from restarting behind him, and Delicato clears for second. 3 wide all the way through the field here. Chris Worrell has shot through to 5th. He bypasses Bayuk for that position. He'll go after Matthew Weeks for 4th, entering 3. Chris Worrell, that 06 car, he's the one on the move. So is Cameron Rich in the 47. He's on the bottom side. We'll see if the top or bottom is the more preferred line for these guys. I know some guys will try to save tire on the bottom, use the top for passing, use the top for defending. Hank Steinville is trying to use the bottom for attacking. He's going after Delicato.
Got a few cars back in the field here looking to make it 3 wide. Ryan Lutz takes a peek. He'll settle back in. That's behind Heater and Rich.
Ryan
That's
Lutz
around
going 3 wide? I've
seven.
never seen such a thing.
7th, 8th, and 9th is around where they're battling. Rich has got a big run inside Bayuk there and up to Weeks. So he's on the move.
Yep. And here Cameron Rich side by side with the outside pole sitter Matthew Weeks. Rich and Lutz up the bottom. They are the fast two right now trying to move forward in this field. But Ryan Lutz very aggressive with his, looking 3 wide. But that's what Ryan Lutz does. Makes aggressive moves.
Jared
Usually
Rexing.
pays off for him.
Jared Rexing trying to jump in that battle as well. He's on the back bumper of Lutz, and he's going to push him underneath Rich here on that bottom line all the way up to Weeks. There's the run Lutz gets from the bump draft there. Johnny Thomas in that bottom line as well.
That's a huge battle, snarl and gaggle of cars as Lutz clears Cameron Rich. He goes after Matthew Weeks. Now Rich to the outside of Ryan Lutz. Rexing on the apron. He's got help from Johnny Thomas. This is a great battle. Vincent Isabella in it as well. James Heater. Matthew Bayuk. Back and forth. But Ryan Lutz and Cameron Rich tend to be the ones moving forward, it looks like. Lutz now going after Matthew Weeks.
This battle goes all the way from 5th position all the way outside the top 10 to about 12th to 13th. The cars that you have in this mix.
Yep, and one little bobble can be all it takes to send you from first back. Matthew Weeks and Ryan Lutz bounced off each other there on the front straightaway. Seems like everything's all right, but Weeks will hang on to that spot.
Here comes Rich back under Lutz.
Wonder if that 36 car doesn't have a little bit of damage on the right side or the left side. I think it was the left side of that 36 car. I'm going to crinkle the fender in a little bit, but either way, Matthew Weeks holds him off. Rich passes Lutz. He goes after Weeks. Jared Rexing's going to get Matthew Bayuk. Maybe not. They're still side by side off turn 4.
Heater's inside Isabella right behind them as well. So 2 rows deep there side by side.
Vincent's got a pretty good looking number 15 car. He's kind of pushing the issue here, working his way up into the top 10.
It is in fact for the 10th position. That's 10th and 11th. Johnny Thomas now going to take advantage of Heater down low. He will slide into that 11th position. Heater back to 12th.
And Rich clears Weeks. Lutz back after the 11 car. That's the battle for 5th.
Rexing and Bayuk side by side for 7th and 8th.
Yep. Looks like Rich clears Weeks. Lutz in behind him. Then that side by side battle that we just mentioned. Rexing and Bayuk, and then Isabella and Johnny Thomas. All battling kind of for 5th spot. Just behind, Ethan Burrell going after Andy Trupiano, and Scott Crump going after Garen Turner.
This is definitely where the action is on the racetrack right now because the front 4 have single filed out. Rami Scott has pulled about 6.5 to 7/10 of a second over Indelicato, and that's Indelicato, Steinmiller, and Whirl all tucked together in their own 3-car pack. And then this hornet's nest of cars behind them that we've been talking about for about the last 5 laps or so.
Isabella drives to the inside of Jared Rexing. And I'd keep an eye on the 15 and the 11 here. Vincent not too happy with the 11 last week. Got run into at some point in that race. Bayuk on the outside of Matthew Weeks. Weeks has kind of steadily been falling back since the start of this one. Lutz is clear now. Rexing and Bayuk trying to get around that 11 car. Isabella jumps to the top, trying to cut Rexing off from that outside lane. Back behind, Ethan Burrell trying to move forward. He drives underneath James Heater. Bayou clears Weeks. Rexing tries to get to the outside of Matthew Weeks, but in doing so, loses a little bit of time, and everybody is finally single file. I'll give them like 2 laps. Get back to it.
Just enough to catch their breath, settle things down just a bit to pick it right back up again.
We heard Tate Lytle talking about how great Michigan was in this B-Class Xfinity car, and it's certainly delivering so far. It's just that we don't have too much of a battle for the lead. Kwame Scott is way out in front of this field.
The guys have chipped into it ever so slightly. They've took about a 10th off the lead, but it's still about a solid half a second from Scott to Indelicato, and then Steinmiller, Worrell, and then Rich, your top 5.
That'll kind of remain 7th on back. Bayuk is there. Weeks wants it. Rexing and Isabella right behind them. Little gap to Ethan Burrell after Isabella. And a slightly bigger one to Johnny Thomas.
Yeah, Carlos has shown it there. It's hundredths of a second that he's chipping away, but when you're only a couple tenths down, that's making a difference. Delicato inside 3/10 of a second now as they go through 3 and 4. He is closing. It might be a couple more laps, and he might be to the back of Kwame Scott.
Now, what Hank Steinmiller is doing is really helping Nick Indelicato push forward here, because Steinmiller is close enough to be making a run at Indelicato, but he is just choosing to stick on that back bumper of the 0-1 and use him to chase down the 99. Chris Worrell also in single file. Those guys having broken away. They're utilizing that draft right now, trying not to race. They know there's a bigger picture here. They need to get to the end of this race. Running in the top 5, very safe place to be. And you don't want to let Kwame Scott check out, because we saw last week he can do just that. So running him down, pretty smart here. Kind of slowly getting that gap down, but battle is kind of heating up for that 9th position. Isabella's going after Weeks.
Inside 2.
I keep the camera right here. I'm just saying.
Oh, we're down. Now it's up to 3, almost 4/10 of a second as they exit the corner, but coming down the straightaway there, Indelicato had it inside 2/10 of a second, and he has reeled in your race leader as they close in with a 10th down the backstretch.
Love the 3YTV multicam. We might see a battle for the lead here on the bottom. Indelicato all over Kwame Scott already. Just like that, that lead went from half a second to nothing, and Kwame Scott gonna have to put on the defense. But running the top seems to be really, really strong defensively. You can kind of keep it up there and hold somebody back who's on the bottom. You can push him down a little bit. Ethan Burrell going after Isabella for 10. And he'll get it. And the front 12 so far have kind of broken away from this battle up top of your screen between Trupiano, Francis, Gary Turner, Scott Crump. Leininger is in this pack. Rawls is in this pack. We saw him in having an adventure in that first caution. No battle for the lead, but back in the pack, 8th place. Jared Rexing looks like he might have cooked the tires a little bit. Matthew Weeks going back by the 07 car. A couple of bubble drivers right there. 2 guys who need good runs today. Lead change potentially as Nick Indelicato drives it to the bottom. We know Kwame Scott hasn't really been willing to give up that track position and that lead, but this is going to allow Hank Steinmiller, Worrell, Rich, and Lutz to close right in the more they run side by side. Steinmiller's going to have a go at second here. Delicato's going to be side by side with Steinmiller down the back straightaway. I don't think he was able to hold it up next to Kwame Scott.
He's got underneath him here in the corner, though. That corner panel, now the driver door.
Steinmiller pushing in Delicato, choosing away from the points leader. Now he switches lanes back to the top. This is just helping Hank Steinmiller. It's not so much pushing Kwame Scott or in Delicato as you might in a real car with that air bubble.
Delicato's almost got him. Don't know if he's going to be able to clear him, though, here out of 2.
Can't perform the slide job. Hank Steinmiller getting that run down the back straightaway and looking on. This great battle for the lead. Now Kwame checked up a little bit. That allowed Hank to jump to the inside. And Delicato with the race lead. Hank to second.
Chris Worrell was not able to jump in that line and go with them. He'll slot into 4th. Scott will break that trio up. Cameron Rich starting to appear in the picture as well.
Here comes Hank Steinmiller, the Auto Club winner. He's going to cut to the inside, look for the race lead. He's going to get it. What a move by Hank.
Not so fast to make contact.
Oh, make contact. Hank in the wall. I don't know if Indelicato got the wall. That gives the lead back to Scott, and here comes Chris Worrell.
They both got into the wall there. They hit about the same time, and Delicato was about 2, 3, 4
they crashed
cars
in the back of the field.
back.
Oh, and Adams hits the inside wall hard.
Is that Steinmiller around?
Oh, it's Dylan Thomas. I should have picked the other purple car, huh? Well, until now. And Delicato not happy with Steinmiller, and they're bouncing off each other on the front straightaway. We're going to have to go back and take a look at that battle for the lead. I mean, Indelicato sailed it in on the top, and Hank's on the bottom. He's going to drift up a little bit. Looked a lot like that contact between Kwame Scott and Damian Leininger last week at Las Vegas. Yeah, that's huge contact with the wall, too. I'm going to go see if there's a little bit of netcode. And Mogart got into Dylan Thomas and spun him around. And then I think Josh Adams checked up for that and got run over from behind. And he ends up in the inside wall. Josh Clark ends up around. Oh, Cooper Johnson was still trying to collect it. And that's what took these two out.
Everybody down pit road.
That's expected. I'm going back to look and see if the 63 and the 01 had netcode in that, or if it was. Yep, little contact after the checkered, or not after the checkered, after the caution. And then pit stops are happening right now. Y'all, I'm watching it, and Nick Indelicato, he was trying to pinch Hank Steinmiller down, and Hank didn't move out of his line and got put in the wall. Clark drives through the pits. He drove through the pits. He's going to come back around and pit after this. He's probably grabbing a lap lead. Hank Steinmiller and Delicato both there. You can see him on the screen. They've given up that track position to fix the damage on those cars. Wait, what are we doing? I don't know, Dom. You might have to do that. I have an idea of what happened there, so I don't want to be impartial. I want to be impartial, and I would not be.
All right, Carlos. Did you say you want to bring somebody up? I can bring him up.
Oh, it would have been Hanker and Delicato. Cameron Rich is coming back down pit road.
That's
From
an interesting.
third. He parked it. Something up with Cameron Rich. Gave up all that track position.
It's very interesting.
One of our bigger chase drivers and the winner of the Sonoma race.
Interesting enough to come down twice, let alone to stop right there in the entrance of pit road. Don't know what that was all about.
All right, real quick. Cameron Rich, David in the booth. What happened there, man? Cameron, you got me? All right. He's going back. Cameron Rich, not a happy camper, it appears. By the way, Steinmiller is 30th and Delicato is 38th. They're both still in the lead lap, but I would wager their chances of winning this race are over. And that leaves Kwame Scott, Chris Worrell, Matthew Bayuk, Ryan Lutz, Matthew Weeks, the top 5. And you have Jared Rexing, Ethan Burrell, James Heater, Vincent Isabella, and Scott Crump, the top 10. Pace car is off.
Back to green. We get ready to go. Kwame Scott going to lead us to the green flag once again.
Worrell did not get a good jump, went a little early and had to check back. Ryan Lutz got into him a little bit, and it just didn't really send him anywhere. Now Kwame Scott kind of free of the two guys who ran him down last run. See if he can check out once again. Power move, Chris Worrell. Around the outside of Bayuk, help from Lutz, Jared Rexing in that pack as well.
This guy's going to get racy once again up here.
Worrell up to second, Lutz up to third. They are clear in single file. Fourth on back is where the fight is. Bayou kind of falling back a little bit in that 29 car. I think he's trying to take care of his stuff early in the run, but that's coming at the cost of a lot of track position, and it's not easy to pass once it's strung out. Now Weeks going after Bayuk. Scott Crump's jumped up to 7th. Good restart for the 51 car.
Burrell up to 8th, Heater 9th, and Isabella rounds out your top 10. Solid run for Vincent here so far today.
Yep, he's been up in the top 15 all day long. Seth Rawls is up from 35th to 11th, and he's going after Vincent Isabella for 10th. Rawls likely going for that hard charger spot. Put down a qualifying lap. You get the most positions gained. You get a little reward. But here, Heater, the one on the backslide, Isabella will clear him. Rawls will go after Heater for that 10th spot. Meanwhile, up front, Kwame Scott just ran the fastest lap of the race and is pulling away.
He's gained a half a second on Worrell again, but then remember last time, they get grouped together and they can come right back into it.
Mm-hmm. Ran a 39.56 did Kwame Scott. That's nearly a qualifying lap. They qualified at 39.4, 39.3. And then remember, the track is about 10 degrees hotter right now. Very impressive lap. Rexing into 4th. That's a huge run for a guy who's currently on the outside looking in. Matthew Weeks also right on the bubble running 5th. Those guys absolutely looking for runs like this to solidify their chase position. With Mark Whitley out today, Tate Lytle out today, there's definitely points to be gained in the fight for the chase. Ryan Lutz going for 2nd up front on Chris Worrell. He's going to get it. Ooh, maybe not. Phew. They almost made contact there off of 4. Worrell and Lutz still side by side. That's only going to allow Kwame Scott to pull away. Well, I say that, but they gained on it. And now Lutz drives it into turn 1. He'll clear Chris Worrell. It's not so fast, says Worrell. He'll go back after Ryan Lutz now. And Ethan Burrell has cleared his teammate Matthew Weeks. That's for 5th spot. Burrell is up from 21st. battle still raging for second. They haven't lost that much time to Kwame Scott while running side by side, and Worrell's going to get Ryan Lutz here.
Rexing sitting there in the 4th position looking on as well, and here comes Burrell through the mix as he's cracked the top 5.
And now Lutz back to the inside of Chris Worrell. They keep going back and forth for that second spot. Worrell's going to try to hang tough on the outside. Lutz not able to clear. They're still side by side for second. And see, this is the juxtaposition. Oh, here comes Rexing and Burrell. Rexing throws a huge block on Ethan Burrell.
Burrell had a massive run down to the bottom there.
Ooh. Oh. I might be hot if I was in that 37 car, but the thing is, Ethan Burrell, very level-headed individual. He's going to go to the outside of Rexing. This is the difference between what Hank Steinmiller and Indelicato were doing there. These 4 guys are battling very hard, and that's allowing Kwame Scott to just save tire, pull away. When they line up, they've proven they can run down Kwame Scott. They can go for the lead. But you can't be battling like this. If you're going to do it, you have to string it out, work together. Draft's just too powerful.
And while they've been battling, he's been able to pull away by half a second, but nothing really too much more than that.
Yeah, if Ryan Lutz is anything for him, I think he'll show it right here.
Yeah, I feel like if he really wanted to have a shot to run away with this thing, he needed at least over a second gap here, and it's going to chew up quickly here once these guys get single filed out.
Yep, Rexing still going after Burrell after that big block, but they finally single this out. And if I feel Ryan Lutz cut into the Kwame Scott lead that lap, I feel like they could run him down and run kind of a pack race for the lead at this halfway stage point. That'll be in 10 laps. A playoff point to the winner of the stage, as well as bonus points for the top 10. Something that everybody here in this top group is certainly looking for. It'll be big for Matthew Weeks and Jared Rexing specifically. Chris Worrell as well. I believe he's kind of on the outside looking in. Going to need as many points as he can get, but here comes Ethan Burrell charging to the inside. He'll get Chris Worrell. Ooh, maybe not. Ooh, man. Burrell almost got Ryan Lutz. Huge move by Ethan Burrell. I don't think it's going to work out for him, though.
Burrell being very aggressive, but it's not helping the group. They had chipped almost a 10.5 off of the lead from Kwame Scott. Now he's messing up that a little bit, fighting for positions. Going to slot into 3rd ahead of Worrell.
So Chris Worrell, the one sliding back a little bit here, as Burrell and Rexing take advantage.
Burrell looking to the inside of Lutz there, took a peek. He'll decide to stay put for the time being.
Burrell and Lutz, a couple of guys who've worked together pretty well in years past. I feel like they might be able to work together here and try to run down that 99 car, make it a 3-way battle for the lead. Jared Rexing might have other plans, though, in that 07.
Your 2 most dominant cars 1 season ago are sitting 2nd and 3rd right now. Ryan Lutz has found that momentum from last year. Burrell has not quite got there yet, looking for his first win of the season.
It's coming, too. Ethan Burrell's real good here at Michigan. This is definitely one he could snag a W. Right now, these guys got to work to catch that 99 car, though, man. They are not eating into that lead at all. He's still holding at 3/10 and just keeping everybody at arm's length. And a chase point would be huge for the points leader to continue to pad his lead. I mean, even last week when he was, making contact and ending up in the wall, he still finished 10th, led the most laps, had halfway points. It's going to be very difficult for these guys to catch Kwame Scott the way he is running right now. Though I will say Ryan Lutz did kind of catch him that lap.
Gained a full 10th that time on Scott. Last couple laps had evened out to about the same distance. They had gained 6 thousandths, and then lost 100th. That time gained a whole tenth, and here they come.
Yep, here comes Ryan Lutz, and I know Ryan Lutz will be going for that lead as soon as he can get it. Lutz doesn't like to stay behind people, and also, you know, we've seen what happens. Ryan Lutz wasn't really able to pass Kwame Scott last week in Las Vegas. Battle for fourth, Worrell going to go back around Jared Rexing. Lutz kind of stalled out, though, after he gained that 10th. Hasn't really been able to keep that advantage.
He actually lost 100th that time by, so not much of a difference last time. Closing in on about 4 laps here until the halfway point, so we'll see if they can make another surge here in the next couple laps.
Lutz, I think he's going to gain a little bit this time, but Burrell not close enough to be able to push Lutz. And that's hurting this group chasing. Lutz gained 300th, I believe.
Yeah, roughly 300ths there.
Not enough to be able to take over the lead from that 99 car.
Here comes Burrell back, though. He's starting to close back in on Ryan Lutz. We'll see if he can get to that back bumper and push him.
Chris Worrell is not interested in teaming up to chase down the leader, though. He has other plans, like third place. Chris Worrell back to third, Burrell back to fourth. Burrell kind of let him have it there, and he'll slot in behind that 06, see if he can push him up to the back of the bumper of the 36. All this battling and shifting has brought Matthew Weeks, Matthew Bayuk, and Scott Crump into the mix here, and so it is now a 8-car battle for the stage win. 2 laps, 2.5 laps. Lutz is driving really hard. He buried it into turn 3. 2 to go until that stage hits. And it's Kwame Scott, Ryan Lutz, Chris Worrell, and Lutz did make some inroads into the lead that time.
Once again, just a little bit, though. He made about 300ths back that time. And he's been gaining the last 3 straight laps, so he's just been chipping away slowly.
Going to need to chip away the rest of the lead in the next lap and a half.
Here he goes. He's going to dive underneath.
Yep, Ryan Lutz just sending it. Going for it for that stage point. He's going to muscle Kwame Scott up the track, try to hold him back. This is going to give Chris Worrell a big run. Ryan Lutz at the line. He'll get there, but I believe they're 1 lap to go. This is the stage lap, next lap. So Ryan Lutz led that lap. Now he'll have clean racetrack. He's going to clear Kwame Scott right here.
Slides
Power
on
move
up
by Ryan Lutz. He was not there. He was a 10th back, and he sent it into turn 3. Now Kwame's going to have an opportunity to do the same. And Lutz sends it. He and Kwame Scott pulled a full 10th on Chris Worrell that time. This is Ryan Lutz at his finest right here. Understanding the value of those stage points, he will win the stage and claim that playoff point. Very, very savvy driving by Ryan Lutz. Chris Worrell will bypass Kwame Scott and into second.
Scott almost lost that second place position, too, right before the line. Worrell got a great run down the front stretch.
Now it's all Ryan Lutz. Worrell bobbled off a 2. Scott goes by him. Rexing by Worrell. Now here comes Burrell as well.
Now the real question here is, this is the first time Kwame Scott has not had clean air, and he's in dirty air a little bit here behind Ryan Lutz. We'll see how his car responds to following somebody instead of leading this whole race.
And counter that with Ryan Lutz finally has clean air. Wonder how far out that 36 car can drive against this draft that seems to be very powerful and is able to really rubber band guys back together. We've seen it all day long, and it looks like, you know, guys can't get away from each other unless mistakes are made. Right now, though, this top 8 is really broken away and is running just essentially a full pack.
Yeah, but you also got to put into another factor there that you have probably the most difficult driver to get around when he's up front leading the race right now, too.
Yep. You know, Ryan Lutz like the toy with the drivers around him. He was doing it at IRP with Scott Crump, but Kwame Scott has not been intimidated by Ryan Lutz this season. He's been able to go toe-to-toe with that 36 car, and last week held him off on that whole first green flag run, to the point that Lutz ended up speeding on pit road, trying to get that extra track position to get around Kwame Scott, and wound up costing himself a chance at that race win. Here comes Scott now on the Ryan Lutz.
We've also seen that he's not afraid to be aggressive and making some moves either. He powers past Lutz. Crossover by Lutz here coming out of the corner.
Yep, but I don't know if Lutz will be able to make this stick. Kwame's probably going to lead at the line. Lutz is going to have to bury it into turn 1 if he wants to maintain the lead at the line, just barely. Kwame Scott, the race leader. They might touch entering turn 1.
David, do you think that because of how dominant Kwame's been this year, we're seeing a little bit more early aggression from Ryan Lutz?
Oh,
That's
Rexing
gonna be right.
Chris Royal on the wall. All right, we'll get to your point as they go streaming around poor Jared Rexing. That is huge for the bubble, because Rexing was just on the outside looking in, having a great run. I couldn't tell if Matthew Weeks got into the 0-7 or not. Yeah, here's the playoff bubble. Jared Rexing right there in 15th. Chris World not on this list. He just got taken out. And he's had race winning speed this year. We've just seen him get caught up in a lot of that. Oh, Rexing got loose. Rexing got loose, overcorrected it, slammed the wall, took out Chris Worrell. Wow.
I don't know how he didn't collect about 15 other cars, though.
Yeah, they were full song coming off the corner. That could have very well have been a big pileup. Poor Chris Worrell right here, man. What are you supposed to go?
He tried to avoid it. Just couldn't get out of the way in time.
Oh, did he get hit by Trupiano?
Yep, Trupiano.
Another guy who's kind of on that bubble, or at least in position, if he gets a win, to be able to make his way up into the playoffs. So 3 impactful drivers involved in that one, and everybody hitting pit road.
Lutz held the lead there at the time of caution, or going back to last scoring lap, so he leads them down pit road. We'll see if he can win the race off pit road.
Needs to not speed, needs to keep the, he can lose the lead. We've seen him drive up and get it back, but he can't come back from 30th. So you gotta not speed on pit road this time. And to your point, Dom, I think the field is watching Kwame Scott. They know he's currently, as that race off pit road, very close. I think Ryan Lutz is going to get Scott. It's going to be awfully close, though. He did. Steinmiller will be back down, so don't worry about him. But looks like Lutz is going to retain the lead, and I think Ryan Lutz, among others, is seeing what Kwame Scott's doing. Right, he has led the most laps this season by a wide margin. He's been up front, qualifying on pole. He's been very difficult to pass, and when he has been in the position where he needs to chase you down, he's been very aggressive in his choices on the racetrack. You know, we saw him move Damian Leininger out of the way at Martinsville. So we don't, Ryan Lutz doesn't want Kwame Scott to gain more points and have the most laps led in these races. It's just creating it a more difficult mountain for Lutz to climb in the playoffs. So Lutz specifically, but I think everybody in the field knows what Kwame Scott was willing to do for a win, and they also know that he's currently the fastest driver, and so he's getting every single driver in this field's best shot.
Well, they're going to line up side by side here on the front row for this restart. Just had our 3rd caution of the night. Those 7 laps over halfway. Possibly could have been the last pit stops we see tonight. We'll see if that plays a factor. Feel like there might be at least one more caution out there before the night's said and done.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case, and even so, I think we're teetering on being able to make it from here anyway. I think these guys are probably expecting to not have to pit again.
The only thing I think that might change that up is just how late that caution comes and how long we've been on old tires. You know, some guys might change it up, but we'll see. So we got about 38 laps or so to go. So,
and with the track temp being well over 100 degrees, it's pretty clear to me that this car is getting loose. So you're going to want to have 4 tires. I think old tires would just result in dropping through the field like a rock, like we've seen at some of these other tracks. Like Scott Crump at Dover, for example. Pace car is off. Ryan Lutz goes, and he gets the big jump on Kwame Scott. Matthew Weeks will have an opportunity to get underneath the 99.
he's going to at least get to the corner panel here, entering the corner.
Can't
dive underneath.
Weeks fell back early in the race, but is rebounded nicely up to third. And another one of our bubble drivers really needs a good run and just had 2 of his closer competitors fall by the wayside.
Crump and Burrell have had to charge through the field here throughout the race to kind of get up here. Now that they got fresh tires and are at the front, it'll be interesting to see what they can do here, if they can contend for this race win.
And I got my eye on Jared Mogard, 37th to 7th on the grid in the 00. Man, that guy seems to always find his way to the front. Battle for the lead. Kwame Scott trying the top side on Ryan Lutz. Lutz not having any of it. Holds that 99 off, and here come the Pro Edge Toyotas.
And those 3 Toyotas might be in the best spot if Lutz and Lutz and Scott get into it here a little bit, make a little contact.
Yep.
They're sitting back, they're just waiting.
It's certainly possible. They're going after it. Kwame Scott kind of making that aggressive outside to inside maneuver. And Lutz having none of it. He's just driving it to that apron and using the bottom. Kwame Scott setting up passes via the top. We haven't really seen this at all in this race, and I think he's going to try to get a good run down the back straightaway and eventually dive underneath Ryan Lutz entering turn 3. 3 wide on the back straightaway. Vincent Isabella and Jared Mogard underneath Seth Rawls. Isabella will clear them both. Oh, Rawls and Mogard with a little contact.
Back to the race lead goes Kwame Scott. Power move there through 3 and 4, entering the corner. Scott back to the race lead. We'll see if Lutz can mount a charge and try to get that lead back once again.
This has been fabulous racing all through the field. 3 wide while the lead is changing hands. Ryan Lutz, I feel like the draft just rubber bands people back and forth. So whenever Kwame Scott is behind Ryan Lutz, he can mount that charge and catch back up. But it's the same for Ryan Lutz, who's just right on the back bumper of Kwame Scott down the back straightaway.
This is right where Scott made that dive to the inside. Lutz loses a little bit of time. Interesting enough, though, Weeks and Burrell have not been able to close up on the back of these 2 to get in the battle. Here comes Burrell to the inside of Weeks. That'll be for 3rd.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell knows that he can probably hang with those front 2, but he needs Matthew Weeks to move out of the way a little bit, and Weeks does just that. So the Pro Edge Toyota swap order. Leininger and Isabella side by side. That's back in 10th on the top of your screen. Isabella wins that battle for now. For what it's worth, big shout out to Dylan Thomas. He was backwards at one point in this race. My pick to win. He's up to 12th. Cameron Rich, he had stopped on pit road, had to go all the way to the back. He's up even higher. He's up in 11th. Carlos. Our picks had some struggles early on, but they're working together, working their way up into the top 10 here. Oh, Rich Moot couldn't move up. Leininger pulls alongside.
Settled at the front here now. Burrell trying to close in, hasn't quite got there yet. Lutz still hanging on. Here comes Burrell. As I say that, he dives down to the bottom there to the apron, pulls right up to the back of these two. Three-car battle, and Lutz will now take a look to the inside of Kwame Scott.
This has become a three-car battle for the lead. Ethan Burrell turned on the afterburner, going after these two. Burrell wants a piece of this battle for the lead. And while Lutz and Scott are side by side, Burrell sizing him up into turn 3.
Have to wonder there if Ryan Lutz saw the run coming from Burrell, thought maybe he could get some help out with it and dove to the inside. Burrell will tuck in behind him now. Maybe give him a little push now. He'll split the difference in between.
Here he comes. Burrell on the bottom, 3 wide for the lead.
Can they hold it going into turn 1? That's going to be the real question.
Putting on a show. My goodness, Ryan Lutz and Burrell clear Scott. Now Lutz clears Burrell, and Ethan Burrell into second.
Kwame Scott, the big loser there of that battle, but here he comes back off the top side down the backstretch, side by side for second once again. Lutz, the leader, Burrell and Scott battling for second.
And here comes Scott Crump on Weeks. Crump clears Weeks for fourth.
And as soon as he does that, he pulls right up to the back of Kwame Scott, just 2-3 car lengths back now.
This is easily the best race of the season, man. These guys have been incredible today.
Totally agree, David. It's been, as soon as you catch your breath for one, they ramp it right back up and go after each other again.
Speaking of going after each other, here comes Ethan Burrell going after Ryan Lutz for the race lead.
Burrell looking to take the race lead over. It might be one of the first times we've seen him out front all season if he can make the pass.
He's going for it. Burrell trying to send it into turn 3. Ryan Lutz and Burrell close. And Lutz gives Burrell a little bit of room.
Flashback to the 2021 season. Burrell making the pass on Ryan Lutz. 2 cars from last year running 1-2 right now. And Ethan Burrell coming around to pick up a lead lap there and picking up some bonus points as Kwame Scott closes back in on the back of Ryan Lutz.
I am floored with the way Ethan Burrell drove up to these two, man. And he has gone in there and taken the lead. But Ryan Lutz, Kwame Scott hanging right there with Ethan Burrell. And the way we've seen the rubber band so far today, I'd anticipate these two going right back after that 37 car.
Here comes Kwame Scott to the inside of Ryan Lutz. He'll blow by Lutz. I think Lutz let him go there. And he'll slot into the 3rd position as Scott Crump looks to join the battle.
I'll tell you, Dom, I think what I'm seeing from Ryan Lutz is the rare Lutz having a bigger picture in mind. He and Ethan Burrell nearly made contact. Burrell was throwing it in there, going for the race lead. Lutz bobbled a little bit, just let him have it. He's falling back to 3rd, and he's regrouping. He's going to go back after it. Lutz knows that he can win this race. He doesn't need to win lap 62.
Absolutely, and he knows, you know, David, we've said it throughout the season, Kwame Scott can be just as aggressive making some passes. And Lutz knows that he's not going to win the championship here. He's going to have to go on for a few more weeks.
Battle for 8th back there. Jared Mogard going after Seth Rawls. Weeks trying to go after Scott Crump. Battle for 4th. Ethan Burrell getting out there, and he is kind of checked out a little bit. I wonder if Scott and Lutz can run him down. They've run single file for a lap or two here, but really no inroads being made. Now Ryan Lutz going back after Kwame Scott for 2nd.
Here they go. Your 2 title contenders right now battling it out side by side. Lutz going to take that 2nd spot back once again.
I wouldn't call them 2 title contenders. I believe Ethan Burrell's, 4th in points. That's 3 title contenders right there, working it for this Michigan win.
Yeah, a very quiet 4th place here for Ethan Burrell. Almost makes you forget that he's sitting there lurking in the points, waiting for a big moment, an opportunity like this to strike. And I'd be nervous if he gets a win here and momentum on his side, things start rolling in the right direction. He can be very lethal in this championship.
Right, and we saw Ryan Lutz have a near perfect chase last year. 8th was his worst finish in those 10 races. Ethan Burrell's going to have something similar to that, and so is Kwame Scott. I mean, these guys are going to have to be on top of their game, and Nick Indelicato is going to be a member of that group, and he can't have races like he had today. That's the kind of race that, it doesn't matter now, but you can't be making a mistake like that on lap 25 of a race if you want to win this championship. And we're seeing these guys show off that they're going 1, 2, 3. They're looking to be the title favorites, and each and every time out, it shows a little something extra that can be used during that chase.
I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I'm not saying, what I'm going to say here is not saying that Ethan Burrell doesn't give his best effort every time he comes out, but right now this might be the best time for him to make a run. He was so strong last year through the regular season, and then got to that playoff, had some things not go his way, and lost that championship after what looked like he was maybe, if not the favorite, obviously one of the top 2. Maybe it's the reverse here. Maybe he needs this run now into that playoff season to lock up a championship here in 2022.
Yep, but don't look now. Ryan Lutz is all over the back bumper of that 37 car now. He has run him down. And if I know anything about Lutz, he can get the lead from that spot right there. He's going to look now and go underneath.
Lutz very aggressive here today. And if that just doesn't tell you how important it is to get wins here in the ERSCA season, I don't know what will be. And he can't get it there out of turn 4. He'll slot back into second. Ethan Burrell will pick up another lap as we have 23 to go now.
Yes, still a lot of time left in this race. You do not need, I don't think you want to be leading, honestly. Coming down to the last couple of laps, I don't think you want to be in the race lead. I think you want to be second and trying to chase that guy down, because you can make that move in turn 3 that Ryan Lutz just did, make a little bit of contact, shoot him up the track, come home a winner.
And the longer these front 2, front 3 start to battle, the more cars that get pulled into the mix. Weeks, Crump, Bayuk, Mogard, Isabella, all starting to close in on these front 3.
Mostly back to Mogard, it looks like, is in this kind of front pack. And Ethan Burrell trying to hold station. And like we said, you know, that you're right. I don't think it's a matter of Ethan Burrell trying so much, but Ethan Burrell needs to go in and find some race wins and really step it up to get in on that same level as those 3 guys that we've talked about that have kind of won all the Xfinity car races. But Ethan just got a new job. He doesn't necessarily have time to put down the practice laps that maybe some of these other guys do. Making it all the more impressive that he's up here leading laps and holding his own against some of these other guys.
He can be just as streaky as some of these other guys, though, and all it takes is one race to get that momentum going. I mean, look at Kwame Scott. We've talked about it all season long. Didn't think he'd be in the position he was when the season started. All it took was the win on the road course, and now look at how dominant he has been this season.
Yep, and he's absolutely, you know, a favorite for the championship, as are the front 2 guys ahead of him here. Big shout out, though, to Matthew Weeks, Scott Crump, Matthew Bayuk, and Jared Mogard. All 3 of those guys are right there on the bubble as Lutz makes it go for the lead. He will slide up in front of Ethan Burrell. Does Burrell cross him over?
He's going to try for it. Burrell's at the inside. Drag race back to the finish line here. Burrell's got to run to the inside. He's going to have it at the line by a nose.
Just barely. And that could be the move that for the race win, right? So Ethan Burrell, the leader, got back to the line first that time. So throwing it in, pulling the slide job, that's not the race-winning move. Ryan Lutz just learned something there.
Is there anything you could, like, if you're Ryan Lutz, David, I know you got to go with your momentum, but could you try to pull that off just a second later, maybe, to not allow Burrell to have a big of a run coming out of the corner?
Well, Lutz is now going to try to run side by side with him on the bottom of the racetrack, and Ryan Lutz knows, you know, he can get in there and move into Ethan Burrell, but that lead is strong, and ooh, I think Lutz actually led the lap that time. That was close too. Yeah, basing it off of that, I mean, it looks like you're right. Maybe a little bit later of a move, trying to get that corner exit speed might be the way to go. They almost made contact off of turn 2. Kwame Scott's going to be right there here going down the back straightaway.
So you mentioned it, David, and I'm thinking kind of on the same page. Lutz obviously wants a lead. I'm not taking that away from him, but could he be taking some time here to maybe learn some things, take some notes down, so that way if he does find himself back in second place here, he knows exactly what he needs to do coming to that checkered flag.
Absolutely. This is where these guys are setting up their moves. They're not showing all their cards, but they're certainly starting to bluff and starting to understand what these cards can do.
Here we go, 4-car battle now. Matthew Weeks in the mix, and Scott Crump isn't too far off either.
Yep, man, this is a 7-car battle for the win right now. All the way back to Jared Mogard in this mix. If these guys start getting together, but Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz have been side by side for the last 5 laps. Now Weeks and Scott side by side. And Burrell clears Lutz back once again.
Weeks gonna put himself in between Scott and Lutz. And Crump's gonna go in between Bayuk and Scott here, so the teammates kind of breaking up this pack a little bit.
That is huge though. Oh man, they almost made contact entering one. Weeks is going to get underneath Lutz. If Matthew Weeks can get by Ryan Lutz, that is a pro. That is exactly what Ethan Burrell wants to see. He will want his teammate in his mirror and to be able to decide it amongst the two of them. The goal for Ethan Burrell is to try to get that 11 car in front of the 36.
Absolutely, and Weeks is going to try to do that right now and help out his teammate. He's to the inside of Ryan Lutz. He slide up, not quite as they come back through the tri-oval once again. 16 to go on the board this time.
Clear. Matthew Weeks is clear of Ryan Lutz. Will Matthew Weeks go for the win? He is not up in 4th in the points. He's back in 11th on the bubble. Matthew Weeks, a win would much help him much more than it would Ethan Burrell at this point in the season. It would essentially lock Weeks into the playoffs, whereas Burrell just needs to show up each week and he's essentially locked in. And now the Pro Edge Toyota's 1-2, and Matthew Weeks has charged up from 4th. I wonder if maybe those guys have all burned their tires a little bit, and Weeks was able to save running back in 5th. Seven-car battle. Cameron Rich and Vincent Isabella kind of trying to draft back up to it in 8th and 9th. But it is Pro Edge 1-2 with Ethan Burrell and Matthew Weeks. Now Weeks looking to the inside for the lead. It's like no teamwork, team orders there. They're going to race for this win. And I think Matthew Weeks is going to clear for the lead. Yes, he is.
Here comes Lutz right behind him, too. He's going to get a run. Tried to look to the inside of Burrell. Couldn't quite get there. He'll slot back into 3rd ahead of Kwame Scott.
What an impressive drive through the field by Matthew Weeks. We haven't really seen him up front all season long. But here he is at crunch time at Michigan. I wonder if he wasn't able to save tires on that 11 car. Is now Kwame Scott going after Ryan Lutz. I wonder if he wasn't able to save some tire in that pack, and now he's able to kind of maximize that 11 here late in the run with the car as loose as it possibly is.
Lutz going to try to take a look under Burrell here in 3 and 4.
Yep, Ryan Lutz looking to try to sneak by Burrell, and he will probably do so. Burrell trying to hang on his outside. They'll still be side by side for second. That's just going to allow Matthew Weeks to drive away. Maybe that's exactly what Ethan Burrell wants.
It only takes a couple laps, though, for these guys to reel them right back in if they get single file. I know we're starting to run out of time here, so we're going to be 12 to go this time by.
Still side by side are Lutz and Burrell, battling behind Matthew Weeks. Weeks, remember, in desperate need of a race win right on the bubble. He is the last car in the chase right now.
So maybe there is your team orders, David. You talked about Burrell needing a win, but maybe he wants to help his teammate Weeks out more.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ethan Burrell's not really that guy. You know, he and Weeks work together really nicely, like at the plate tracks or something, but a race like this, it's every man for himself in that stable. Those guys always race each other hard, and they work together when they need to, but it's certainly not... Burrell's going to do everything in his power to still win this race, but right now he's also managing to hold up Kwame Scott and Ryan Lutz. And that's I think that's just kind of incidental with Matthew Weeks being out in front.
I think Ethan Burrell might have used his stuff up in general. I think he's going to start to slip through the field here. Lutz is going to get by right here. Kwame Scott was looking to get by and make it 3 wide just about a lap ago, and Scott Crump is waiting on their back bumper.
Yep, but all these guys have kind of falling back from the back bumper of that 11 car of Matthew Weeks. He's been able to pull out to a 3.5 lead. Burrell still challenging underneath Lutz. That 37 car doesn't look like it's falling or fading away on tires.
It's holding its own, but he hasn't been able to get back up there and challenge for that race lead again.
It's tough. He's been side by side each of the last 10 laps or so.
Now he's side by side again as Kwame Scott goes to the outside.
And I wonder if Scott Crump is anything for these guys. We haven't seen him up there all day long. He's been biding his time. I wonder if Crump was able to save some tire and maybe has something here to make some moves in the final 10 laps.
He needs to go now if he does, though, because he's running out of time quickly. He's got a couple cars, not a lot, a couple cars to get by if he wants to do something.
Just remember that a caution would potentially change everything at this point. Ryan Lutz hunting down Matthew Weeks. Burrell and Scott side by side for third, and Scott Crump looking on for fifth. How did Lutz fare that lap? 0.3 last time by. 2.8 or 0.28 tenths that time. So he does chop into the Matthew Weeks lead ever so slightly.
3.5 hundredths of a second.
But we saw Lutz make those gains against Kwame Scott early in the race and was able to drive up and get by. I wonder, I think this might be exactly the spot where Ryan Lutz wants to be.
He's closing. He is definitely gaining some ground here on Matthew Weeks.
We talked about it though, you kind of want to be second. Coming down to the end, if Matthew Weeks loses the lead right here, he can just catch onto the draft of that 36 car and drive back behind him. Another quick look at the playoff picture.
Almost 1.5 tenths that time.
Yep, Lutz got in the draft of Weeks that time and it's closed right in. Burrell has fallen to fourth and he's just kind of pinned on the bottom. Don't think that 37 car is quite so happy there. I think he liked being on the top and now he'll fade all the way back into that fifth position.
Real question is Kwame Scott going to be able to gain some ground to get back into this mix as well? Because that could really change everything else up too.
Yeah, I think so, especially once these front two start to get side by side. That will bring third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10 all the way back into this race.
So you talked about it, David. You want to run second, but if you're Ryan Lutz, you know your points leader and your title combatant is sitting right behind you. So would you rather bite your time and let these guys catch up to you, or would you rather try to get around Weeks here and see if you can put some distance between you and Scott being out front?
Here's the deal. If a caution comes out, you want to be first on, first off pit road. I want to be the race leader at this point, and I want to maybe be coming back to the front with like two to go white flag. If once the white flag hits, that's where I want to be, right on the back bumper of the leader as the second place car. But I want to be the race leader right up until that point because I want to be first on the pit road, being able to grab those 4 tires and have as much of an advantage as I can get on the restart as well.
6 to go, more like 5.5 to go as we go down the backstretch here at MIS.
Scott has not been able to eat into the lead of Ryan Lutz and Matthew Weeks. And I think Lutz is at this point just biding his time. He knows that I don't think those guys behind can catch him. So he's just going to wait, set Matthew Weeks up, and go after him for the race lead here, maybe on the white flag lap.
And I wonder if he rode there just for a lap or two to see what they're doing behind him. Now that he's realized that that they're not closing in, he's going to be more patient, as you were saying, David. Wait till those final 2 laps and make the move for the race win.
Exactly. That's the smartest play you can possibly do right here. Lutz knows he can make this pass. He's done it multiple times this race. He just enters the corner a little bit later than everybody else. And here he comes right now on the lead, so Lutz going for it now, but I think he knew he would have it there. He was close enough to Weeks that Weeks couldn't get back to him. Weeks, though, crosses over Lutz. They will be side by side for the lead, and that will open the door for third, fourth, fifth.
How hard do you fight him right now if you're Ryan Lutz, knowing there's 4 to go?
It's too late now. You made your move. You got to stick with it. Try to get the lead back, but Weeks clears entering turn 1.
And here they come right away back. They've already closed half the distance and still continuing to close. The freight train is coming behind them.
Just that one little tiny move by Ryan Lutz entering turn 3 was all it took to bring Kwame Scott and Ethan Burrell and Scott Crump right back into this race. Now Lutz trying again, and I think that will allow this to be a 5-car battle for the win.
You have to wonder if Ryan Lutz is a little worried about being gun shy too late and not being able to get to the line in time, and knows that he's got to try to make the move and use every lap he has right now to get around Matthew Weeks.
Well, maybe he can do it here and then play defense from out in front. We've seen that outside line be good enough to hold off. Matthew Weeks using it to his advantage right now, but their side-by-side battle is... Oh,
contact! Weeks.
No caution.
Nope.
Scott Crump is going to be going for the race win in turn 3. Crump to the lead.
Ethan Burrell in the mix as well with Kwame Scott. They're looking for the battle for second. How about this for Scott Crump?
Burrell going after Kwame Scott. Crump out in front for the first time all day with 2 laps to go.
I just don't know if Burrell's got enough momentum. Crump or Scott to the inside this time in turn 2.
Big battle for the win. We didn't even get a chance to think about Ryan Lutz and Weeks making contact. Now it's between Crump and Scott with Burrell looking on and Matthew Bayuk waiting in the wings.
And don't count it out. There could be more contact here in the lap and a half. We've seen it before. Couple guys that need a race win, and your points leader who's been aggressive all season long.
Scott Crump absolutely must get this race win. He needs it to climb into the playoff picture. He's too far out on points. Crump leads the white flag lap. Kwame Scott chasing him down. Here comes Bayuk after Burrell for third.
Just don't know if Ethan Burrell's car's got enough to get up there and challenge for this win right now. It's been fast. Just hasn't been quite as fast as these other cars.
Can Scott Crump hold Kwame Scott off? One more corner. We know what Kwame Scott's willing to do for a race win. Does he send it in there on Scott Crump? No, he didn't. Ethan Burrell's going to get into Matthew Bayuk, though, for third. Coming out of turn 4, though, Scott Crump's going to punch his ticket to the playoffs. And what a move to win the race. Scott Crump passes on the apron and wins the Michigan 200 in ERSCA. What a finish. Ryan Lutz comes home 8th. Matthew Weeks outside the top 10. That was the best race we've seen all season.
Oh, hands down.
My goodness. I'm certain there's going to be some upset drivers after that one as well. Ryan Lutz and Matthew Weeks, likely the two that are going to be the most angry at each other, the most agitated. Weeks to get into Lutz there after the checkered flag. Scott Crump wins this race. Redemption after IRP, where he looked like he had one of the dominant cars. And Dover as well. He both of those races, he was pretty dominant and ended up with a pretty poor result. Kwame Scott extending that points lead with a second place finish. Here's the contact between Weeks and Lutz after the race. Right there, Matthew Weeks not happy with Ryan Lutz, but there it is. Let's get Scott Crump in here. We've also got Kwame Scott and Ethan Burrell.
How about that for your points leader? I was looking at probably a solid top 3 finish, maybe in the 4th position. All of a sudden, once again, he was right back in contention for the race win.
Yep. We might need to go back and get the replay as well of the contact between Lutz and Weeks with 3 to go, Carlos, if we can get it. With that, I will grab Ethan Burrell, if I can. Looks like he's got He's got the stream up in his chat, so I'll grab Kwame Scott.
It's the first time.
Hey, Kwame, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, runner-up finish from the pole. I think you probably led the most laps too in this one. A strong race, just couldn't quite get him at the end there. Tell us whether or not you had anything for Scott at the end, or if you needed a couple more laps.
I think I did. I mean, I had him. Scott was behind me before Weeks and Ryan got together, and I probably could have kept him at bay, but maneuvering around Weeks and Ryan allowed him to get to my inside, and after that, I had nothing for him. Like, I felt really good in the center of the corner, but I couldn't keep the momentum really coming out, exiting 2 and 4. But yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, it really was, especially from our point of view. And was it really fun trading the lead with those guys and battling, or did you kind of feel like you would have rather worked together and run single file and tried to pull away from some of those guys?
Definitely would have rather stayed single file. I mean, but I get it. Like, we're all racing for points. It's crunch time, so everyone wants those points. I knew Ryan was gonna race me hard, so I mean, I didn't mind that, but. I mean, honestly, everyone was just doing what they had to do. So, it's not... Yeah, I figured it was going to come down to the wire, so...
And as the points leader with a second place finish today, that really sets you up nicely for the playoff picture. And, knowing that you're kind of continuing to pull away from everybody else, how do you approach going into the chase knowing that you're going to get everybody's best shot going forward?
I mean... Hopefully I can keep this momentum. I mean, I feel like as long as what I'm doing right now currently is working, and as long as I stay focused, qualify up front each race, I should be in pretty good contention. So yeah, I mean, that's really the game plan. Just make sure I'm qualifying up front, in a good track position, and and then the racing, my own ability will do the rest if I could just, qualify up front. So.
No, I think you got like the last 3 poles or 2 of the last 3 or something like that. So you're certainly taking advantage of qualifying well. But before you go, any shout outs here?
Nexus, Splash and Go, basically all the sponsors of my car, HRR, RRM, like just, everyone that's, all the boys back home. That's
All right. Thanks, Kwame.
Yep, thank you.
There's our points leader and runner-up finisher, Kwame Scott. And before I bring Ethan Perel into the booth, watching this battle between Lutz and Weeks, and it looks like Lutz coming up just a little bit off the corner. I think the contact's going to be made like right here and right there. I think that's netcode. But we've seen them be that close a number of times today, and a lot of racing single file. Lutz didn't really move into him at all, and Weeks' car reacted kind of negatively to the presence of Lutz, and into the wall they both went, lost in both the race. And here's the battle for Scott, the pass Scott Crump made on Kwame Scott. So with that, we'll bring Ethan Burrell into the booth. And Ethan led a bunch of laps today, came home third. Looked like a pretty productive day for you. Talk us through your game plan there, coming down to the end.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good day. I missed it in qualifying, started middle of the field, and I honestly was just driving full bore basically every lap of the race. I was just kind of wanted to try to get up to the front as quick as I could, and the cautions were falling my way. Thankfully, after about 15-20 laps on the tires, I was really struggling because I was pushing the right rear way too hard. But it all worked out. Had a shot at the win. I kind of burned my stuff up, and it's battling with Ryan and Kwame, and then Weeks came up with, he was saving tires, I think, and he came up there and blew my doors off, and I was just trying to hang on and try not to slide back too far. But It was a good day though. I'll take a podium.
Yeah, for sure, man. And when you had the lead, it looked like anybody who was kind of single file behind the leader could just drive right back up to him, and nobody could really pull away. Did you feel like maybe you could break that trend, or were you just hoping that you could save enough to be able to come back to him once you lost the lead?
Yeah, it was tough. Cause yeah, being out front, like the car handled good in the clean air, but they would just get such a big run and close multiple car lengths down the straightaways. So kind of had to be on defense mode every corner, and Ryan was doing a good job, kind of keeping me on my toes, throwing it in there. Especially in turn 3, he would throw it in there pretty hard underneath, and I'd either have to try to hang on the right rear and get the run off, or cross back under him. So yeah, it was really hard to hold the lead tonight. It was kind of a game of chess in a way, but yeah, I just had to be better on the tires if I was going to be able to win.
And Ethan, as one of the top 5 in points, with another third place finish and another stage points finish, you're really pulling up on the playoffs as one of the championship favorites. How does a race like this impact your racing moving forward? Does it give you some of the confidence that you're going to need to go out there and finally kind of break this winless streak?
Yeah, for sure. I know it was a pretty slow start to the season for me. Like I said before, I mean, I felt plenty fast in the COT cars. I just wasn't putting the finishes together. So it's a good time to get some momentum built up, and Michigan's always good to me. So I'm happy to capitalize on the points tonight, and yeah, we'll see if we can keep this up moving forward.
Folks, Ethan said he doesn't get the finishes in the COT car yet. He lost a photo finish at Rockingham. So
still sad
second
about
place, not quite enough for Ethan Burrell. But Ethan, any shout outs you want to give us before we send you off?
Yeah, my fiance Rachel for racing with me here, and my grandma and buddy Austin for watching these things, and Anthony Ludi at 213 Simware for sponsoring the machine, and just all the guys at the Pro Edge Racing Shop, and Matthew Weeks too. I know he had a good shot at it. It was a bummer finish for him, but yeah, we'll go on to next week and get ready for the playoffs coming up.
Sounds good, Ethan. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Third place finisher Ethan Burrell, and now we will bring up race winner Scott Crump. Scott, congratulations on the win, man. What a job, and what a pass down the back straightaway on the apron.
Oh man, that was crazy. I can't believe it. That was really exciting there at the end.
Yeah, Scott, you ran pretty much fifth the whole final run, and I don't know if you were saving tires and trying to make your way back through there or what, but it must have seemed like the win kind of just materialized for you there out of the blue.
Yeah, I was just kind of cruising, just trying to save tires and save, and then all of a sudden I got stuck behind Kwame and Ethan running side by side. That allowed the two ahead of us to pull away a little bit, and then we started bringing them back in, and they started beating and banging, and I knew they were going to wreck each other eventually, so I just dove to the inside, hoped to misdirect, and just stayed in it, hopefully get the lead. And once I got the lead, I knew I was going to have it because I had the tires.
And Scott, you were one of the dominant cars at both Dover and at IRP, and kind of ended up with a bad finish in both of those races. So a win like this, I mean, you're pretty much locked into the chase at this point if you can just keep up the solid runs, if not the good runs. And does this give you some momentum moving forward into that chase?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. I mean, had top 5 speed all year long, just never had the finishes go with it. Either we got wrecked out or made some strategy mistakes or whatever, like at Dover, just stayed out and when I should have pit it and whatever. But definitely this win is a big momentum booster and carry it through the chase.
Sounds good, man. Well, congratulations. And you got any shout outs for us here?
Yeah, shout out to my sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Everybody go give them a listen. Jimbo's been my friend for a while now, about 3 years. So he's been with me since the first season here. Let's see, I think I just snapped like a 30 winless streak or whatever in ERSCA. I hadn't won since like the end of the first season, so kind of excited about that too. And also give a shout out to my grandfather who watches all the time, and Also to Low Line, my teammates, and everybody on racing tonight.
Sounds good, man. Well, congratulations on this win, and it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting to get you in victory lane, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You have a good night, man. So with that, we can do kind of a quick rundown of the finishing order and then head on out of here. Couple of notes. Ryan Lutz does finish 8th, Matthew Weeks 13th. Damian Leininger did get into the top 10, so big for the bubble. Matthew Weeks still finishes that 13th, so he'll probably still be in the playoff, given that Mark Whitley and Tate Lytle did miss today. Good run for James Heater in 6th, another one of the bubble drivers. But with that, Nick and Delicato, Hank Steinmiller ending up 28th and 31st, respectively. Just the contact there, just taking them out of this race, and that's gonna leave a mark. Nick Massey kind of out to lunch once again, wondering if he's gonna be able to contend for some of these race wins.
Yeah, absolutely. He wasn't quite the same as he was 2 years ago last year, and then this year it's just been just a rough year for him. It hasn't been horrible, but just last couple weeks especially, just car not been there for him, and not been in the top 10, not been competing for the lap slide or anything like that. We'll see if he can get it turned around next week.
Sounds good. Well, for Carlos Acosta, David Westergreen, Dom Santina, this has been 3 Wide TV. We'll see you next week.